Hi everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, and today is Thursday, December 22nd. You're probably gonna see this uploaded tomorrow, Friday, but it is just a few days before Christmas, and I am going to do a WIP parade. Well, a mini WIP parade today. So if you're new to the channel, I know a lot of people check out WIP parades, so you may not be a regular viewer, you may not know what's going on in my life, or you might be a regular viewer and still don't know what's going on in my life. That happens too. Anyway, long story short, I am living on the road in a travel trailer ever since June 30th of 2022 this year. So most of my cross stitch stash is in storage. However, I brought a lot with me. So I have, I just counted, I have about 42 or 43 WIPs, works in progress, here with me. So that means that there are about 60 something in storage, but I still have a large chunk here with me. So I thought today I would just go through those and do a little mini WIP parade. And then also I want to do a little bit of a stash dive and show you all some of the stash that I brought with me, which stash includes kitted up patterns and just patterns that I haven't kitted up yet. I did bring all of my floss with me, so all of my DMC and all of my fancy flosses. I did bring, I'm not going to show them because they're disorganized right now, but I do have all of my floss with me. I did not bring all of my fabric with me. That seemed a little bit overboard, but I brought a bag with a good assortment of fabrics, so that if I did want to start something, I would have some options, but the bulk of my fabric is in storage still. Most of my needle minders are in storage, all of my finishing supplies, like a lot of my stuff is in storage, but I did bring a lot with me because I knew I would want options, and there have certainly been times where, you know, a new pattern comes out and I want to start it, I want to kit it up and start it right away, and I'm kind of having to make do or figure out something else because I know I have the perfect fabric, but it's in storage. I don't have it with me. Anyway, I tried to bring a good selection with me, but I do want to just run through that. So this is primarily going to be a WIP parade with a little bit of stash dive at the end. I'm not going to show all of the stash I have access to, just you know, cherry pick like a few patterns to show you guys. A lot of this stash I have is online, like PDFs on my laptop or on my phone. So I don't have them printed off, and I'm not going to insert pictures of all that stuff. So first thing I'm going to do is insert just a really short clip showing where I keep my stuff in the travel trailer. So right now we are in a house, we're renting a house in Mexico for the month. It is so much cheaper here than in the United States, and to actually just rent a house for a month made more sense and was cheaper than like staying in our travel trailer and paying like a campsite fee. It was actually cheaper to just get a house. So we are in a small 2-bedroom home, and our camper is just outside. It's a big fenced in yard. So that's why I have this beautiful nothing backdrop behind me right now. But anyway, I'm going to show just a short little clip of what it looks like where in the trailer where I keep all of my stuff. So I just wanted to show you what the storage situation looks like in here for my my cross stitch. So this dinette that wraps around the front of the camper is all storage. Like underneath, it's all wraparound storage. So let me show you where my cross stitch is. So accessing the under storage can be a little annoying because I have to take off all the cushions, and then there's a wood topper that I have to take off. But so see, like there's this kind of plywood on top. But anyway, this is my storage. So just some odds and ends here, but I've got all of my WIPs here. This is my fabric stash and like kitted up, mostly kitted up things, and maybe some patterns that aren't kitted up, but things that aren't WIPs that I brought with me. And then back here, I've got my DMC box, my floss, all of my floss is in this big tote bag. I've got to figure something else out for that. I haven't figured that out yet. And then I've got odds and ends here in this tote. I've got like my wool pressing mat, my iron, a bunch of finishing supplies, and antique samplers, which are normally better protected. I've been looking at those, so I keep those more protected than than how this appears. And then more can slide in under, but that's all of my cross stitch stuff. I've got some books under the harder to access reach area because I don't need to get those out as often. So there's my stash that I brought with me. Almost half of our under storage, but you can see I have room. It's not like crammed in there. I could fit a lot more in these totes, but I kind of have it spread out so I can get to it easier. Okay, so let's start the WIP Parade. These are in no particular order. In past years, I've done, usually I think I do my WIP Parades chronological, like my oldest to newest WIPs. But these are all just willy-nilly. There's no rhyme or reason to these. Most of the ones I'm gonna show first are ones I've worked on more recently. They kind of got thrown in the front of the bin. But this is my travel project for right now, meaning like what I stitch on in the car or when I want to just like grab and go something. This is a DMC bookmark kit that I got from the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And it is called Bird and Berry CFA Voicey. And so it came with the fabric and the thread and a needle. And it's just a 16 count Aida and DMC floss. And I'm about halfway done with this. And I actually haven't worked on this in a little while because I've been stitching ornaments when we're traveling. And then now we're not traveling right now. But this will be finished somewhat, I'm guessing somewhat early in the year when I get back to it. The next one is the Holiday Rooster Sampler. So this is my latest pattern release from Hemlock and Rye Stitchery. And normally I try to get my models all stitched up before I release a pattern. But for this one, I really wanted to have it released for Christmas because of the colors. They felt very Christmassy to me. And so I released this without having completed the model. So this is the Holiday Rooster Sampler. I've talked about it in previous videos. This is a 40 count linen from Fox and Rabbit in the color Eureka. And the floss is Color and Cotton, no, Classic Colorworks Mistletoe and Bandana. I don't think for every project I'm gonna go through like fabric and floss because that will probably take too long, but I'll point out things that seem relevant as we go. Working on the Autumn Lane Stitchery Dark Queen of the Earth stitch along. So this is a stitch along that will be concluded in September of 2023. So this will certainly be a WIP until then because I can't finish it until the pattern is fully released. I'm not quite caught up. I have a little start on December section, but it is not done. But this is where it is right now. This is 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself, and I'm using the called for DMC. like I said, these are the first few are ones that I've shown in the my last Flosstube because I've worked on them recently. But just sit tight and you'll see some new stuff in just a minute. So this is Mirabilia Cathedral Woods Goddess. And I worked on her quite a bit a few weeks ago. This is where she's at. This is a picture of this plus fabric in the color Gossamer. It's a kind of limey, minty green. I'm not sure if that's showing up, but it's a greenish. I'll have to insert a picture of how this chart's going to look because this is a PDF. This is Park Hopper Bart, Be Merry All. This was his holiday pattern that he released in collaboration with Evertotes. I'm not using the Evertotes or the Roxy Floss. I just use stuff from Stash, and this is 32 count eucalyptus from Fox and Rabbit, which look very similar to the model cover photo. All right, so this is some new stuff for you if you watched my last video. So this is the Primitive Hair Christmas at Orchard House, and this is what I'm stitching right now. So there is a lot of progress on that, on this from last time I showed it. This is one of my very oldest WIPs, and I'm going to finish it this winter. So I've been stitching on this, and it's actually coming together pretty quick. For the longest time, I didn't even have this full border done, but I had most of it. I think like I didn't have the green in, and then I had half of this done. So since I picked it up, I finished this border, I finished this, and then all of this is new. This is 32 count Relic from Picture This Plus. I love this fabric. And I'm stitching with the called for DNCs. So the girls, the little women, they are a lot of stitches, but they're stitching up pretty quick. I did all of this last night. So that is soon to be a finish. All right, another one I want to finish this season is Peace on Earth from Cottage Garden Samplings. And this is another old WIP. I started this as a stitch along years ago with Sarah Stitchology and Christine from Stitch All the Things, and they probably both finished theirs. It's so long, it was so long ago, I don't remember. I think it was like 2017 or 2018. It was a while ago. But I would like to finish this year. And I actually don't have that much left. I need to finish the house and the big cardinal at the top. This is a 32 count Witchell like mystery linen. It's a bluey, it's like a blue-gray. And I'm subbing most of the colors, but with similar colors to the called for. So this is Heap on the Wood by Brenda Gervais. And so the pattern comes like this. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can actually see it the right way. This is, I'm stitching this on a 32 count, so it's quite large because it's a 32 count, and it uses a ton of floss. But I started it in 2017. I think if I were to do this now, I'd probably do it on a 40 count so that I could use a lot less floss. I don't like using up fancy floss on like 2 strands on 32 count because I think it just eats up floss. So I don't mind that this is going to be a large piece, and it looks really good. This is 32 count Picture This Plus Wren, and this is where I'm at. I haven't worked on this in forever. This is mostly the called for colors, but I had to sub a few where they were getting lost on this fabric. So like, I think it calls for like Weeks Putty, which just blends right into this fabric. So I did have to switch a few things out to make sure they showed up. I guess I'm just gonna take a little pause to talk about like why do I have these particular patterns with me. There's no rhyme or reason. When I was trying to decide what to bring with me, like on this next leg of our trip, I was actually having a really hard time trying to figure out what to bring. So I just did, I have a list of my WIPs and I have them numbered. So I just did random number generator and just let it pick like 40 for me. There were a few that I made, there were a few that were like stitch alongs I wanted to work on, or things I wanted to work on specifically. So I grabbed those, and then the remainder I let random number generator pick, because I just couldn't decide. So that's how I got to what I have with me. This is Mirabilia Halloween Fairy. Now this one was a kit. It came with the fabric floss, beads, and so when I got it, none of the colors looked like this cover photo, because this was an older pattern, so the dye laps had changed so much. So they kitted it up with like so it's old enough that it was originally kitted up with crescent colors, which have now become classic color works. So some of those dye laps have just changed a lot. So I opened it up and like none of my colors didn't look like this at all. The most egregious example was this orange in her skirt. Mine was like a really pale pastel peach. Like it wasn't even orange. Obviously, and the color was called tangerine. So like obviously once upon a time it was orange, but now it's just like a pale peach pastel. So I ended up swapping all my colors out because they just did not look like the cover photo at all. And then I thought, well, if I'm swapping them out, I might as well just have some fun with it. So instead of doing this kind of brownish, her dress is like this weird, it's one of those weird colors that it's hard to like quantify. It's like a purpley browny gray. So I just made mine like full on purple. So this is Extra Design fabric in the color Elixir, which is really a great fabric. And that's how far I got on her. So I'm subbing all of the colors on her. Next up, I have an oldie here. This is Chatelaine, the Marie Antoinette Mandala, I think is what it's called. Yeah, Marie Antoinette Mandala. And here is how this will look. This is one of the chatelaines, I think that's like actually a lot less stitching. It's very intricate, but it's not as much stitching as some of them can be. It's not like a full coverage. So, you know, maybe I can finish it. We'll see. This is, I dropped my petite treasure brain. Okay. This is 32 count Picture This Plus French Lilac, which is a really dark blue. And I started in the center and I don't have very much done. Now, I know that these flosses are getting lost on here. When I add the beads, they should show up better. So there's a deep, like royal blue. It's a Gloriana, I think, which is a beautiful, beautiful floss. But it is hard to see on here. But once I fill in more and add the beads, I think it'll pop a little better. And it still looks really cool. It's just not as much contrast probably as there should be there. Okay, another one that I think I should finish soon because there's really not very much stitching left is Hands On Design Philanthropic Pumpkin. This was a limited release kit that Kathy did at Hands On Design for a charity fundraiser. So the kit came with everything to make the pumpkin, and it came with the fabric. The only thing you had to provide was the DMC. This was just a couple colors of DMC. So here is where I'm at on this. So very little stitching on it, and I don't have very much left to do. So that should be an easy finish once I get back to it. All right, so this is The Chopping Mall by Witchy Stitcher. This was a stitch along that I jumped on. When she released it, it just immediately caught my eye. So the final pattern will look like this. Sorry, I've like marked mine up. Mine's gonna look way different because, you know, I got really excited. I remember when she released this pattern and she released the frame, and I was like, I loved it, and I jumped on, and I like was all in. And then I realized like I don't even like horror movies. It's like so bad. I'm like, why did I sign up for this? Like, I don't like horror movies. I don't watch them. So luckily on her Facebook group, a lot of people made modifications to this pattern to like include their favorite scary movies or horror movies. And I realized that for the ones that I didn't know or I hadn't watched, that I could sub in one I did know or had watched. And I don't, there are some scary movies or horror movies that I do watch and enjoy. So I'm just not into like the slasher films. So anyway, all that to say, I've plotted out. I've got a whole like layout picked for this. But it's things like someone subbed in Misery with Kathy Bates for one of the rooms, and like I have seen that movie and I love that movie. So, you know, something like that, I would rather put that in for one of the movies that I haven't seen. So I do have a layout. I've got it all planned out when I do finally get back to this. But here's where we're at. This is 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. And I left, these actually were the called for movies, but I actually knew these movies, so I left them. So you've got Michael Myers, Chucky, and Freddy Krueger, which I did watch those when I was a youth. It looks really good, and it's a great pattern. I'm just going to make a ton of modifications to it just so that it makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think what else is on there. So someone did one for Misery from Stephen King. Somebody did one for The Lost Boys, which is amazing. Like, that's absolutely going in. And then I wonder if I can think of any of the, I can't think of the other ones right now. All right, this is Bella Filipina, Bellatrix. This is so beautiful. I need some more Bella Filipinas. They have been knocking it out of the park. Like, their last few releases have been just absolutely gorgeous and stunning. I need some more. So this is all the called for colors, and I'm stitching this on an Extra Design fabric. It's a 32 count, and it's called Witchy Pink. It's so cute. Now this is like a lot of block stitching in her dress, but it's looking really good, but it is a lot. It's a lot of like just big chunks of color. But those are my colors. Those are that fuchsia, that's my color. And the fabric is really cool. So, still a lot to go on her. She's stunning. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put a picture of the finished design for this. This is Midnight in the Pumpkin Patch by Uncanny Kari, which is a PDF that she released just this past Halloween. And this is a 14 count Aida that I dyed myself, but it's just almost black, like a charcoal black. And then I did tweak the colors a little bit. I think the greens are the called for, but I punched up the pinks to make them more of a hot pink, just personal preference. The ones she chose looked great, but I just wanted mine to be a little bit more vibrant. So I did change those two pinks out. I think that's it though. And it looks amazing. What else do we have? Oh, So this was, I started this in July for Christmas in July, for Diana, for her Christmas in July sal she was doing. This is a pattern from Nikki's Creations, and it's called Embroidery Christmas. I'll have to put a picture in of what the final is going to look like. This is a 40 count color and cotton sampler gold, and I'm using, I'm not using the called for flosses. I think it's just DMC. I'm pretty sure it's charted at DMC, and I just pulled fancy flosses from my stash. So this will not take long at all to stitch if I just sit down and do it. I might try to get that finished for this Christmas. Bendy Stitchy Rolodex Morning sampler. I love this pattern so much. This is a collaboration she did with Carla, Rolodex Stitcher. And I am doing mine on 40 count. Picture this plus in the color Meyer. Oh, which is like an amazing color. I love this color. This is a great color for any like witchy Halloweeny stuff. And I did have to change some of the colors just to get them to show up. Like when I started on the Weeping Willow tree, I had to change my green so that it would show up on this fabric. But that's where I'm at on that. I love that pattern. From this year's October issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine, there was another pattern from Nikki's Creations called Halloween Shepherdess. And I did get a little start on this. Now I only got like one day on this, so I don't have a lot done. I'm using the called for DMC. And this is that same 40 count color and cotton sampler gold linen. And I just started up here at the top. But again, I don't have very much done. Is that all the width? Yeah, that's the full width. That's as big as it's gonna be. Look how little that is. On 40 count, it's tiny. Ooh, this is a fun one. So this is from Innocent Bones. This is a plastic canvas kit. And I got a little start on this on the flight home from the UK. So that's all it is. I'm gonna flash the pattern really quick. I don't think you're gonna be able to do anything with it, but just so you can see what it's gonna look like in the end. Here's my little start. These are also sometimes my car travel project. Okay, so from the Witchy Stitcher, I have the Supernatural Sal. She has just finished, the last creature was just released. I kept up for a little while and then I really did not. But wow, I have more done than I thought. Like now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should try to get back to this. I kind of had given it up for like, well, I fell too far behind. Oh well, I guess I'm done. And now I'm like, oh, there's not that much left. This is a 40 count color and cotton fabric of the month in Sweet Tea. It's a beautiful color. And just using DMC for this. And like I said, I have more done than I thought. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, Alforce Embroidery Alice stitch along. This was a stitch along, what was it, last year? Might have been. It's Alice in Wonderland. This was a free pattern. It's still free on their website. And I got the floss pack for this. So I have the all the called for colors. And this is a 40 count vintage country mocha from Zweigart. And I'm further on this than I thought too. I need to finish this. This really it wasn't taking that long. Oh, it looks so good too. I need to finish this. I thought I had more left than that. That's nice. Okay. This one, that reaction is not anything to do with this pattern. It's a judgment of myself. So this is The Moons of 2022 by Kathy Barrick, and I started this with some friends, and the thought was that once a month on the full moon, we would work on this, and I have not worked on this for the last like 4 or 5 full moons. So my reaction was a judgment of myself for totally failing at the stitch along. Okay, but maybe I'll resume that in 2023. So I'm subbing in different silks. So I don't have it's not the called for, it's just silks from Stash. And this is a 40 count Grandma's Stuffin' from Fortnite Fabrics. I love this fabric. And this is my little start. So there is so much navy blue fill-in up there. Whew. But I've got a little start on it. My thought was like, you know, each time I get it out, I'll do a few strands of the boring fill-in, and then I'll go stitch some fun stuff, and then kind of go back and forth and get that border done or that top box done eventually. Okay, so this is from Urban Stitches. This was a stitch along that also just concluded, and it's That Which Does Not Kill Us. This is not the final look of it, but just so you can kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. More parts have been released than what this is showing. And I absolutely love how this looks. It's wonderful. I just really have accepted about myself that I don't like doing black work, which is basically just back stitching, and I don't enjoy it. It's too fiddly and particular, too much counting, like too much concentration, and I prefer, I don't mind a little bit of fiddly stitching, but I prefer to be able to just like block out a color and just go, you know, like just do like, okay, this is 18 stitches across, and then another row and another row, and just be able to like kind of just get a flow. And with black work and back stitching, like I can't get a flow. So I really don't enjoy working on this, but it looks phenomenal, and that's nothing against the designer or the design. It's just me. It looks amazing. So I'm gonna have to work up the willpower to get back to this and finish it. It's on 18 count Ada from Fiber on a Whim in the color Hazelwood. And here's how far I got. The other thing is it comes together really quick. Like each of these bottles just took a day or two. It's just not fun for me to count that much. But it looks wonderful. All right, so this is my Theresa chart, Theresa Priscilla Dawes 1870, and I stitched this chart in 2 colorways, one based on how the front of the chart looked and one based on the more vibrant colors on the back of the chart. And then after I did that, a stitch along was started, and I wanted to participate, so I designed a whole new colorway for Theresa. And I'm doing like just dark, gloomy, moody, gothy colors, basically. So this is an alternative version of Theresa that is not available yet, because I thought I might need to still tweak some things. But I do hope to get this out someday. This is on 40 count Murky from Picture This Plus. And here's my little bit I have done on her. And the palette, let me show you the colors just so you can see what kind of colors we're working with here. This is a Millennium Falcon thread keep. And so here's the colors. So I did get some fun like neons in there, but primarily it's like every like dark navy, dark purple, burgundy, like all the purples that DMC makes, basically. Some grays, teals, emeralds, Yeah, so this is the palette. And the mock-up looks really great. I need to get that. I need to get more done on that one. And then I know a few of you have asked about it, so I need to get that done so people can get that. Okay, Quiltify Design, All Souls Vierlanden. This is one I have not worked on in so long, and I do love this pattern. This is on, I think this is 40 count Lakeside Vintage Buttercream. That's how old this WIP is. Like, it wasn't hard to get that, or it wasn't that hard to get that back when I started this. And here's my little start. I'm using DMC Coloris. And I have zero excuse for why I never have come back to this one. I really like the pattern. I really like the look of it. It's just one that always gets like on the back burner and I never get back to it. I have no excuse. Okay, Plum Street Samplers, Peace, Love, and Purpose. This was a kit I got from Country Sampler. And so it's all the called for stuff that came. I think, it was everything that came in the, it's all the called for on the pattern. They kitted it up that way. Because the reason I say that is because sometimes Country Sampler will make their own conversion and then send you the kit with their changes. But this is a kit with all the designers called for stuff. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, here's where we're at. What's kind of slowed me down on that is all this blue fill-in on the bottom. Look at all that. Ah! I'm not looking forward to that. So that did slow me down a wee bit. We'll see. Well, it's a small pattern. I just have to get back to it. Okay, so the Primitive Hair they're still free. She has all of like the Pagan Holidays available as free smalls. I'm trying to grab them so I can show you how they look. So like these are available on her blog, celebrating all the solstices and the big pagan holidays. So you can get those for free. I decided that I was going to put mine in on one piece of fabric in like a circular layout, like a wheel. So the wheel, like a pagan wheel of the year. And then I kind of got held up because I was trying to figure out what to put in the middle. So this is I think it's a 32 count that I tea and coffee dyed myself. And here's what I have done. So I'm almost done with the actual holidays. I just have 2 more. But I was held up on trying to figure out what to put in the middle. So I finally like sat down and charted something. So this will actually be a really quick finish once I just sit down and finish it. Okay, Salem Remembered by the Primitive Needle. This is a working copy because this chart is very precious. So the original is safe in storage. But this is how it's gonna look. I'm not using it only calls for like 3 colors. I'm not using the called fors. I'm using colors from Stash. I thought I had more done than this. I don't have very much on this. This is a 40 count linen from Primitive Hair in old Massachusetts. And there is my little star. I thought I had more. It's a big pattern, but it really shouldn't take that long since it's mostly just names. It shouldn't take that long to stitch. Like, I think if you just sit down and like commit to it, you can finish that pretty quick. Oh, this one is a special favorite. This is what started my love for brightly colored samplers. This is Fox and Rabbit Mary Morgan's. So this was a sampler that they released, if I remember right, the story was like they got the sampler, and like the pictures online weren't very good, so they like weren't really sure what they were getting, and then it arrived, and like it was, if I remember right, I think Karen said like the front, it was pretty ugly, and she was just like, oh no, like I don't know about this sampler. And then on the back there were all these beautiful vibrant colors, so she actually charted it from the back of the sampler. And this picture does not do justice to how vibrant these colors are. Like, you'll see when I show it to you. They're much more vibrant than that picture shows. And so when they showed the actual like model on their floss tube, I was like, stop everything, I must have that. So this is on a 46 count linen from Barbarol Creations, and the color is like Dijon. I think it's just Dijon. And I started in the center, and I'm using the called for DMC. So look at how beautiful this is. It's so pretty. So you can see like this is bright and colorful, but so it's this rose right here that I started on, and you can see it just still doesn't capture, you know, quite how beautiful those colors are. This one has been calling to me. I really want to get back to this one. It's definitely been on my mind lately. All right, so this is Tiny Modernist Zodiac Signs. This was a stitch along a year or two ago, and I totally ignored it. Like the whole time it was going on, I ignored it until she released like the 6th part, which was Leo, and then I was like, damn it, I'm in. So then I had to go get it. So there was never any hope of me catching up or finishing this in any timely fashion because I jumped on really late. I'm using the called for DMCs, except for on the border, I'm doing mine all in metallic, which has also slowed me down, but looks really cool. And this is a 14 count Aida that I dyed myself. It's really, really big on 14 count Aida. So here's where I'm at. So I started there in the middle with the Leo, the lion, and then I kind of came down in this corner, and then I worked my way up to do the Aquarius last January. So, yeah, I've got a lot to do. And that metallic border though, it looks so cool, but it's definitely slowed me down. I think if I hadn't done metallic, I'd probably be a lot further on this, but that's okay. That's all right. It's looking pretty great. Oh, this is, I'll have to insert a picture of this. This is Sailor's Delight, a collaboration with Dee from Dee's 20 Stitches and Kari at Uncanny Kari. And this is with the 3 called for DMCs on a 14 count Aida that I dyed myself. And I don't have very much left in the, I think I'm at least halfway. I think I'm halfway done. I just have to get a little bit more on here. It looks so good. This is Dinosaur Forest from Owl Forest Embroidery. And I had the kit, so it came with the floss and the fabric. Here's what it's gonna look like. And I think I only got to work on this for like 1 or 2 days, so I don't have a very big start on this. That might have just been 1 day. Oh, from the Primitive Needle, this is Witch's Hollow. This is also a working copy. So it is kind of lightened. Sorry, it's a little washed out because it's a photocopy. This is a really big chart and it calls for a million colors. Look at all these colors. This is the floss list right here. I'm stitching, but I'm using all the called for colors on 40 count Murky from Picture This Plus. And I got the two biggest things out of the way, which is this clock tower and this tree, which are massive and took forever. So I started at the top and I'm just working my way down. So there's still 3 rows left, but you can see like they don't have, so this is where I'm at. Like I've done this up here. You can see these rows don't have nearly the amount of stitching of these others. So I'm definitely through a lot of the hard stuff there. This is 1844 Lady Man from Bendy Stitchy. And I was doing this as a stitch along with several people. And we all kind of, did anybody finish this? I'm not sure anyone has. I don't think anybody's finished this. I'm using the called for DMCs. And this is a mystery linen. I have no idea what it is. And I love it. I love it. Oh, this is Guardians of Notre Dame from Ingleside Imaginarium. This was a 2018 mystery stitch along. This is old WIP. 2018. Oh my gosh. And this was when I joined and was doing like in real time until I, you know, fell off. But I love this chart. I love this chart. I think it is so stunning. And this is a 28 count fabric that I dyed myself. And I'm using the called fors. And I've got 3 of them done. And then some of the frame for the 4th. They don't even take that long. I just kind of let this one go a little bit. I need to get back to it. This one should be a really easy finish when I get back to it. This is Sense and Sensibility sampler from the Sampler Girl. It's printed in black and white, but I am using the called for DMC on this. And it's a long, skinny little sampler. And I'm using like a scrap of Picture This Plus 36 count Mellow. And like I said, I'm using the called for DMCs. So this is how it's looking. And I've got a good bit of it done. And I think I'm gonna finish it just like a hanging, like a soft hanging, like a bell pull kind of style. Oh, I love this one. Draculas Confession by Lindy Stitches. This was a pattern she released and she gave you 2 versions. So most people did this vertical version, which I do love, but I wanted to be different. So I did the horizontal because I just didn't see very many people doing, that version. This is on Fortnite Fabrics. What is this color? Portobello, maybe? It might be Portobello. No. Deep Fried. I think it's called Deep Fried. Fortnite Fabrics Deep Fried. And it's a 30, I think it's a 32 count. I'm pretty sure it's a 32 count. And I don't have very much done. I really thought I had more than that. And I'm using the called for colors. I really felt like I was further on that. Okay, this is my oldest WIP. Yes. Yes, the oldest one. The oldest one I have. This is Little House Needleworks Old Nantucket, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make it a focus in 2023 and just get this done. It's my oldest WIP. Like, why not finish it? And I'm using all the called for fabrics, and this is on 36 count Lakeside linen, vintage lintel. Again, back then, wasn't so hard to get those fabrics. I haven't seen those fabrics in years in a cross stitch store. I know sometimes they do show up for sale. I just personally have not encountered any. But here is where I'm at on this with, like I said, the called for colors. And I don't have that much. Now that I'm done with that big house, there's not that much to do. So that definitely needs to be a focus and get that done. This is AH to EE, a reproduction of an 1806 Quaker Sampler by Kathy Barrick. I love this one. I'm stitching mine on an R&R fabric in antique cotton. It's a 40 count, and I'm using a Threadworks floss. And the Threadworks has some variegation. It goes from like a brownish to a deep blue to a deep green. And it's probably not going to show up. It's probably just going to look kind of like just black or dark, but there is some variegation in there. And I don't have very much done on that. But I love it. It's actually not a very big chart. My friend Amy stitched this like really quickly. We actually started it together, and she kept going and she finished hers when I did not. Okay, this is a really old stitch along. This was called The Works of Jane Austen. I don't know if you can still get this. I don't think the designer even like really does. I don't think she cross stitches anymore. But her design was released under Suburban Ennui. And this is how the final stitch along looked. I'm using the called for DMCs, and this is a fabric of the month from Extra Design, and it's a 36 count, and it's called Dark Mountain. I think you can get this color now. Like, it was a fabric of the month, but I think now she does it like just as a permanent. So anyway, here's where I'm at. It's really pretty. I'm using the called for DMC, and it's very beautiful. But I have a lot left. I can't wait to put all these away when I'm done. All right, so this is Ink Circles Get Kraken. This, I'm stitching with the called for silks. They're Gloriana silks, and they're exquisite. And I'm using a 36 count Picture This Plus linen in the color Serene. And I'm using, I think, one strand. Yeah, one strand over two. And here's where I'm at on this. This is really fun to stitch too. Oh, I was finally broke down and started Carriage House Sampling's Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. I resisted this chart for years. I loved this chart from the moment it first came out, but I tried to hold off. And then finally I gave in, and I started it with my friend Alexis. And Karen, I think Karen from Fox and Rabbit started it with us. And I started in the center because I see everybody would get stuck on that center block with the witches. So I thought I'd just get that out of the way. So I started there in the center on this, and I just had started on the cauldron. And this is a Fiber on a Whim fabric. It's a 40 count. I don't know what it's called. Oh, I think it's called Dunes. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Ooh. Okay, this is Barbara Anna Designs, the Snooty Parrots sampler. And I started this as a stitch along with Betsy Klager. And I'm making a bunch of changes. So I'm making changes to this to make it Gilmore Girls inspired. And I'm using my own floss conversion. It's all silks. And the fabric is 40 count Stars Hollow Blend by R&R. That's what made me decide. I remember now. I just loved the pattern. I was gonna stitch the pattern as is. And then the fabric I picked for it was the Stars Hollow Blend. And then that got the wheels turning, and I was thinking about Gilmore Girls, and I was thinking I didn't love the verse on this sampler. And so then I decided to change it. And then I'm making little tweaks to make it Gilmore Girls-esque. So I made Adam and Eve, Luke and Lorelai. So here's where I'm at on this. So the top is all like as charted. And then I made Adam and Eve, Luke and Lorelai. And then I changed the verse to a quote from Lorelai. And then I've got a whole bunch of things planned for the bottom. This is Andromeda by Mirabilia. And I am stitching her with a conversion. When I started her, the live action Disney Little Mermaid movie had been announced, and they had announced that they cast Halle Berry as the lead, as Ariel. And I always got like Ariel vibes from Andromeda. So from this pattern, so I decided to do a conversion. I would have given her a different skin tone anyway, because I do that with most of my mirrors, because I get really annoyed that they're all the same pasty white color. So I was going to change it anyway, and then I thought, well, why not change it to reflect the live action Little Mermaid? So I knew the actress's skin tone, so I started there. However, I didn't know how her hair was going to look for the movie. But now the trailer's been released, and now I do know how her hair is going to look. So now I can get back to this and get that hair conversion done as well. But here is where I'm at on this. This is a fabric from Nicholas Flamel Fabrics. And I don't think it has a name because it was part of the Bronte Sisters trio. It was like a trio of fabrics, and it was just called the Bronte Sisters. So I don't know if this is Emily or Charlotte, or, you know, like, I don't know which one it is. But it's really pretty. It's a 32 count. And like I said, I've changed her skin, but the rest is like the called for DMC. That's her leg. Right there. So yeah, now that I know how her hair is gonna look, I'm ready to get back to that one and move forward. All right, my last WIP, it's the last one. This is Barbara Anna. This was one of her exclusive kits with Nitka. It's called Nitka Moscow. And so the kit came with the fabric and the floss, and it's the 4 seasons. So you get the pattern for all 4 seasons, and you have the option, like, you can stitch them individual, or you can put them all, the fabric is cut where it's just one long skinny piece, so you can put them all on one piece side by side, and that's what I decided to do. So this is I am not very far. I'm not very far on this. This is the autumn, and this is summer. I guess I could get this out and do winter. So again, that's how they're gonna look. They're really pretty. I love Barbara Anna. Okay, so so those are all of my WIPs, my works in progress. So let me show you just a little bit of stash and then we'll get out of here. Like I said, this isn't everything. It's just a selection of things that I brought with me that I could start if the mood calls. So I did get another kit, another DMC kit from the Victoria and Albert Museum, and this one is The Strawberry Thief by William Morris. It's very pretty. These, I actually kind of forgot about these, and I might need to start these really soon. This is a Dimensions kit with these 4 Christmas jar ornaments, but these are plastic canvas. So I had big plans to stitch those this Christmas, and then I just got sidetracked. All right, this is a kit from Lindy Stitches. This is Raven's Needle Book. It comes with everything except for the DMC to make this needle book. This is Bendy Stitchy Cleopatra, and I've got the sulky flosses for this too. Let me show you how she looks. She should be a quick stitch once I get started. I've wanted to start this one forever and I don't know why I haven't. I just need to. This is Mary Margaret by Carriage House Samplings. I love all of these. It's called the Girl series and they're all fabulous. This is, there's also the boys, but they're not as cool, but the girls are all really cool. Jen at Quirks and Stitches just finished this one, Elizabeth up here. But I love Mary Margaret because she reminds me of Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. So. Oh, Barbara Anna Designs Love Never Fails. I love this one. I've got a whole like replacement verse charted for the center. Modern Folk Embroidery, Move Forward in Love. This is the Pride Sal. I wasn't able to start this because we were in the middle of moving our 4-bedroom house into storage and selling and donating most of what we owned. So I was too busy. So I didn't get to start this. But I have it kitted up. I wanted to start it. I just didn't get to. I've got this obnoxious crystal 28 count linen from Picture This Plus. Might actually be unstitchable. We will find out. It's one of those, it's the crystal is woven in such a way that you can't, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but like you really can't see the holes or it just like totally messes with you. So it might not be usable. I'm going to find out. Barbara Anna Designs Cosmic Dreams. I love this one. Got that stitched up. This one, Karen at Fox and Rabbit said she really wants to start this. So I brought this so that I would have it, if she does decide to start it, that I could stitch along with her. This is Stitchy Box Sampler, Sarah Moon, 1791. It's an Ackworth Quaker Sampler. I've got that one all ready to go when Karen's ready. So the story about this is actually an ancestor of Karen's. I think it's like a great, great, great aunt or something like that. This is speaking of Karen from Fox and Rabbit. I have the Blackberry Rabbit Friendship Blooms. I grabbed this when I was in Kansas City at Quilter Station. They had some old Fox and Rabbit charts, or older. They're okay. It's from 2020. It's not really old. But this is back when they were Blackberry Rabbit. So now they're Fox and Rabbit. So they had some of the older Blackberry Rabbit charts. So this is Friendship Blooms. It came with this beautiful wooden button. And then I also had the garden box from Blackberry Rabbit, which came with like the templates to make this box. So I'll get brave. I'll get brave one day and make that. I've got Stacy Nash Primitives First Snowfall Pin Keep. These aren't kitted up either. These are just like random stash. So, also at Quilter Station, I got this Stacy Nash. I'm trying to get it out of the plastic. It's really in there. All right, I got Stacy Nash Primitives, her book From Me to Thee. She has a couple of these little books. She has like a Christmas one and a Halloween one. And if you ever see these, you don't see them all that often, but they're great. They have like little projects in them, and then it usually has a few fun things like stuff like there's how to make like a velvet pear pin keep. She gives you all the patterns and the templates. So like here's one of the little patterns that you can stitch, and then like there's a how to make a pumpkin. So they're really nice books if you ever see those. I brought this Blackbird Designs for my friend because I want to do this sampler. I love this sampler. Love One Another. I think it's so pretty. I haven't kitted it up, but I want it. Okay, that's it. That's enough. There's more, but you know, that's fine. All right, so that was my WIP and my stash parade. And I hope you enjoyed. I love this time of year because everybody's releasing WIP parades, and I just save them all in my watch list and then just like work my way through them when I have time. And I just I love a good WIP parade. Don't we all? I think most of us do. So I hope that this one was fun for you. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.